add something?
Step right in.
All right. As a label, I look at content in a different way. A band's content is, like Jordan said, everything from CDs, T-shirts, audio files. I think the basic branding principles apply to bands, more so sometimes than a bunch of other products. I mean, a band is a brand, and you need to treat it as such. And a brand is not what you say it is what people say it is. And a brand is not your music and your marketing collateral explaining what you are, but it's that comfort and trust that people have in your music. I know it sounds kind of philosophical, but that's what everybody's buying into when you're buying into a brand. You're becoming part of this tribe of people that knows something that the rest of the world hasn't discovered yet. And that's how your brand grows, and that's how your brand becomes a household name like, you know, the White Stripes, to use a successful brand for a band. You should manage your content.
Wait, let me interrupt there. Name two colors. When he says the White Stripes, name two colors that come to mind.
Black.
Yeah. I mean, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, a brand is, you know, a component of the brand is the color and what you think of the recollection, but it's essentially, you know, what you do and how you carry yourself, like Sean said. You know, everything has to make sense, everything has to tie in together, you need to have that consistency, you need to be okay with what you're not. You need to be okay with being referenced to, you know, being explained as a band you don't like, you know, because ultimately everybody's going to perceive your product differently, and all you can do is steer them in the right direction. And, you know, try to maximize all your content. You are your own content provider, so put out as much music as you can, sell as much as you can, give away as much as you can, as much as you want to, and embrace any kind of new thing that's coming out to help get your music out. So treat your content as your business card. Let it lead the way.
I'd like to talk about playing locally and open this up to Joe. But what I see being in the scene is that whatever our scene is in Tampa Bay, and I think this goes for most cities, it's got lots of little pockets. And bands are often either unwilling or afraid or reluctant to try to break out from their pocket and play in new venues. People get comfortable playing in places where they're comfortable. Maybe I get 50 people to show up every time I play the Brass Mug, so that's where I play. But you know, Joe's one of the more forward-looking promoters in town. I mean, what is your advice to people who maybe are playing out regularly every week at a coffee house or some venue, but they're not getting their stuff listened to by other people who are in the scene?
I think as far as, I think we have a very interesting market here in Tampa Bay because it's unlike a lot of different bigger markets. We are separated by the St. Pete, Tampa kind of breakup and mentality of crossing the bridge and so forth. So I think it's important for bands to maybe look at each market as separate entities and to not only play just, you know, Ybor City, but also go and play St. Petersburg and downtown. And I think a really good example is local act called Jerry X that play so much, play coffee houses, play the biggest amount of shows. And early on, that's very important as you grow and get a bigger fan base. Tailoring that a little bit and being more selective where you play and who you play with is important. But as far as touring, maybe statewide, I know you touched on playing with similar artists, and again, early on, maybe that's key to have like-minded fans that like, you know, the Bogos, who may also dig, you know, your band. So that's also key. But as time goes on, it's important to break out and not keep playing to the same people over and over again. You don't grow your fan base that way. So you have to find, you know, an act in Orlando or in Jacksonville or in Miami and trade shows. You know, bring someone that you dig or to your town so that they can do the same for you in those other markets. And conversely, what we've done also with some of the festivals that we've done is not just have rock bands playing with rock bands, to have hip hop acts playing with salsa bands, to have, you know, all these different genres meld together and work together, because in this day and age, not everyone just listens to rock and roll. Not everyone just listens to hip hop. There are hip hop heads that listen to other stuff and get down with other types of music. So to cross brand is extremely important nowadays.
Steve?
I've been talking enough.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think so. And then maybe to ask Sean about outside of local stuff. If if I'm a band that now maybe I am getting my stuff on Tampa, St. I'm playing different venues. I'm starting to get more people to come to my shows, and now the band is talking about doing like a Southeast tour. You've done this many times. What's the next step?
Well, I kind of regret the first comment I made to start off these conversations, because I know the fact that this all really, in reality, hinges not necessarily upon image. And image is, of course, important because it helps people that are listening to music not be confused about what's going on here. You know, if everybody's wearing like insane costumes and setting their heads on fire and stuff, and you're a folk band, that may be cool, but it's going to make a lot of people confused. And also, it doesn't matter how much money you have behind you or how much clout you have if your recording's not good, because your recording can go places that you can't. It's theoretically and monetarily impossible to tour if you're a band that's in between and does not have tour support and sponsorship nowadays. So if you don't have a recording that people want to hand to somebody else and turn them on to your music, if you don't have a recording that accurately represents how you sound live, if you don't have a recording that deserves recognition because of the quality of the recording or the songs, you should probably go back before spending time and effort and money to try to tour and beat your head against the wall, recording an amazing recording that's undeniable. I'm not sure if I've been successful with that, but I've noticed that when I first started touring and I first started playing, and I played coffee shops, and I paid my dues, and I played horrible little bars, and I played horrible little clubs, and I played basically anywhere that would have me and my band play. And sometimes it didn't necessarily work, but the one thing that I learned quickly is that without a good recording, which at the time I didn't have, nobody really cares how good you are. The recording can go places that you can't. The second that you have a great recording, you'll know it, because all of a sudden things become easier. People will book you based upon the sound of the recording alone if you have the rest of the package put together afterwards. So just to reiterate that before, cart before the horse sort of thing, that has to be done first. Now, this becomes even more dire in a situation if you want to tour regionally, because if you don't have a record that stands up on a regional level, they are not going to book you. Being in a scene like this where everybody does start to get to know one another after a certain point, and you have a hard, maybe, I've been in a really bad garage band before, and people booked us just because we were all friends. But that's not going to work in other markets. I've had a friends band that's toured to New York and back, and they, for Florida, have a very unique sound. But the sound they have is very similar to a million different bands that came out of New York 6 years ago. So naturally, when they get to New York, they're not like this rare bird. New York, people in New York are like, well, we heard this 6 years ago, guys. Not really interested. So what it is you really have to have the full package together and then start trying to book shows and start trying to get it out there. But like I said, unless you have the full package together with a great recording that's undeniable, it's going to be almost impossible to break out in a regional market. One of the easiest things to segue into it and not go into it cold calling places, because most booking agents and promoters don't like that. You have to have a certain amount of media and press behind you to begin with. If you can't get a certain amount of media and press in the cities around your area, it's going to be hard for you to get media and press in other cities as well that you've never been before. So what was mentioned a minute ago with playing with other bands that are from other areas, if you have a good draw here and you have a certain market and a niche here, you're able to put in positive numbers and you're willing to pay somebody from another town well when they come here when nobody would normally go see them. To start trading off shows and become established in another market is going to be the easiest way to begin doing that. And also, submitting to music festivals, sometimes you can get into those, and that helps establishing in another market without sleeping on floors and that kind of thing for time beyond reckoning.
Marketing, once you're in town, what about traditional marketing locally versus out of town? Obviously, locally, I can see where you could have a street team in place. You could have people on your street team meet up at a Starbucks, and you can hand them flyers and maybe some compilation CDs, and you can send them out, and you can have them on the ground promoting your show. But out of town, without that in place.